And we are back with another podcast in our Cannabis Thought Leadership series. This is Abe Cohn with THC Legal Group, and today we have Katrina with us. Katrina, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, how are you involved in this industry? What company do you work with? What got you started? Give us some background information.
So I'm located in Seattle, Washington. I am the founder of Love Stoned in Seattle, which is a cannabis informative blog.
Okay.
It's like a website. It started in 2014 where you can go on there and you can see latest news, latest beauty trends, dispensaries near you, um, pretty much everything in one spot. So it's easy access.
Oh, that's awesome. So how did you get involved in the industry to begin with?
I kind of just got involved. I lived in Seattle for a while, so I've gone to like different hemp fests and stuff, and it kind of motivated me at one of the hemp fests to start something that was kind of one of a kind, something that wasn't so trendy, but easy access for consumers and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I created the brand Love Stoned in Seattle to kind of grasp and capture that raw cannabis culture that's out there.
Okay, that's interesting. So what is unique about what you're doing, would you say? I mean, do you specialize in one certain area, or are you focusing on a particular aspect of the industry? What do you think makes your blog really stand out?
I try to make it easier for people to access the blog, and they can, if they're new to the area, they can find things. If they want information on the latest news out there that's going, from passing legalization laws and all that, having all those informative, articles on the website,
Yeah.
so that way I can keep the cannabis enthusiasts informed in regards to the cannabis industry.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, and how do you supply the site with content? Are you writing most of it? Do you have guest bloggers? How do you keep it up to date?
I do most of the blogging myself. I keep it up to date through writing the articles daily,
Uh-huh.
constantly publishing new articles, and having it so everything's fresh and mostly recent.
Ah, okay. And what have you been focusing on recently? Do you feel like you find yourself gravitating towards writing about one specific thing more than perhaps something else?
Recently, I've been focusing on, the the election just passed, so we had all these new states that are legalizing marijuana. So I was focusing on providing that information
Uh-huh.
and having that out there. Also, latest trends in the cannabis culture as far as new hemp beauty products, new lines, grand openings that are going to be coming up to the area, like Berners opening his cookies location in the Belltown area in Seattle.
Okay.
So we plan on capturing this tomorrow during the grand opening and trying to get an interview. And so we have that information and capturing that whole picture, that image.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. So, do you feel like you've connected with a lot of interesting people and sources of information?
Yeah, I feel like it's grown so much as far as getting your fingers in and talking to all the different leaderships in the area, the owners and the bud tenders that work at the dispensaries. I do a lot of interviews with the farmers and stuff and get to know their growing techniques and write articles about, their work ethics
Uh-huh.
as far as growing good bud and whatnot.
Yeah. So, do you think the industry has changed a lot over the years? How do you kind of see its development um, from kind of a subculture to a real bona fide industry that's making its way into the public? How do you view that?
I think in the beginning people weren't as open to it, but now it's just become a way of any other business starting up, like a restaurant or whatnot. Um, there's still the issues and those people who are against it, but I think it's grown a lot and it's became more normal in some areas,
Okay.
as I would say.
Do you ever get any pushback from friends or families who are skeptical about your career choice to be so heavily involved in this industry?
Yes, at times, I have some family members, that are like, it's kind of an immature thing for you to be all about marijuana and whatnot. But I feel like it's such a it's a huge culture now,
Yeah.
and it's just growing and growing. And I feel like creating a brand that captures that culture and sends a message out there saying, hey, this is us, we're a growing brand development. I feel like I really don't care what they say.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, as a law firm that specializes in cannabis for startup companies and entrepreneurs, we often encounter um, different clients of ours who are not sure how to go about branding their own company. How do they pick a name? How should they be thinking about their brand as far as um, kind of an entity that they want to stand behind? So, I mean, what do you think about that? How did you pick your name? How do you go about branding yourself? Um, what's the thought process involved in all of that?
Well, I wanted to stay true to the roots of Seattle. It was one of the, first few states that legalized marijuana. So to me, it was a big thing to incorporate the city in the logo itself. So we have the background is the Space Needle, and then, the Lovestone part kind of came from, the life that I live and I love getting stoned. So
Okay.
I felt like it was really natural and it kind of incorporated all into it. And the thought process to me, I mean, it was just my way of life and I wanted to capture that and show that, there's so much more to it and everybody, likes to smoke and enjoy cannabis.
Yeah.
And so I wanted it to relate to other people like this is a true thing. It's not fake. It's not about, just marketing and commercial retail and stuff. It's more than that.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things about the industry um, is, of course, the legalization aspect of it. Something being illegal on a federal level, and then, of course, being legal on a state level. Um, where do you see kind of federal legalization efforts going in the future? Do you imagine that we'll have full commercialization in the next year or two? What is your sense of it as being so close to the industry?
I feel like now that we're able to do research on cannabis and provide that, that hardcore material for the federal government to have to show, like, show and tell, like, proofs as to how it's good for and it heals in a lot of ways. I feel like it's going to change.
Okay.
I mean, perspectives are going to change, and it may be, on the for a question again to not make it a classified one drug.
Hmm. I mean, it's so challenging that the stigma, as you were talking about, really, unfortunately, is still there because of the fact that it's illegal federally.
Yeah.
Hmm. And you think people will view it differently once it really gains full acceptance, even by the federal government.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting. Where else do you see the industry heading? Do you think? I mean, right now the West Coast is considered to be the hub of the cannabis industry. Do you think it'll make greater inroads in the East Coast as well?
I think it's growing on the East Coast.
Uh huh.
I remember, a while back when they had first voted on it again, everybody was just like, no. And now there's all these states on the East Coast that have now legalized it.
Right.
So I think it's growing on the East Coast and it can kind of spread in the future.
Mm.
I would like to see it head more to the mid, around Oklahoma, and then they haven't legalized it and stuff.
Uh
And
huh.
it doesn't seem like a big topic around those areas.
Right. Well, do you do any coverage of different cannabis companies on the East Coast, or do you find yourself focusing more on the West Coast?
more on the West Coast. I haven't traveled over to the East Coast quite yet.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's interesting. And kind of how else do you see yourself becoming involved in the community? How do you plan on building out your own business, and what do you want to get more and more involved with?
So I feel like getting more involved with the community and um, showing that cannabis heals for different causes and stuff like that. I want to kind of reach out to everybody that's out there, and it could be risky at times, but I feel like getting involved in creating those network connections with different businesses and farmers and stuff like that. I feel like that's going to help out a lot,
Okay.
and I'll be able to grow more.
Well, are you selling things currently on your website right now, or is it strictly informational?
Right now, it's information. We're working on a clothing brand
Okay.
that's going to be launching into the summer of 2017.
Okay.
And also, we're working on a small accessory line where we're going to offer, handmade accessories that will go well with the clothing.
Okay, that's interesting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what's so fascinating about this industry is that there are so many different avenues really to be involved in it. We work with edibles companies, companies that provide auxiliary services in the form of insurance, or there are just so many different things that you can do. What do you think that you love so much about this industry beyond simply enjoying the cannabis itself?
I feel like it's a growing industry, and like you said, there's so many aspects of it.
Uh-huh.
So, as a creative mind, you can do so many different things, and it's kind of like something that people can feel like they belong in.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Well, we're definitely wrapping up. One of the things we want to make sure we get from you is, of course, how people can reach you, how people can connect, how they can join your blog. Tell us a little bit more how to access you.
So, you can access Lovestone in Seattle at lovestoneinseattle.com.
Okay.
We also have a Facebook page and Instagram, and you can also access on Twitter. And you can find those links on the website itself. And there's also a section on the website where you can fill out a contact form if you have any questions.
Wonderful. And your parting words to the audience. What should the audience know about you, and how should they think about your brand in this space?
Well, my brand, we kind of go on the motto, it's where cannabis information and style growth grows from the roots. And we want to, send a message out that people can smoke freely but smoke responsibly.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Katrina, it was a pleasure to have you on our podcast. I think I know I certainly got a lot out of it, and I'm quite sure that our listeners will as well. So we look forward to having you on again in the very short future.
Yeah, that would be great.
Great. Thanks, Katrina. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.